You're not exhausted because the road is long. You're exhausted because you forgot how far you've already come. Stop staring at the horizon. Look down. See the ground you've conquered, blisters, bruise, and all. That's not almost nothing. That's evidence. When you lead with lack, you move like a beggar. When you lead with proof, you move like a builder. Builders don't chase. Builders choose. Today, we flip the lens from what's missing to what's working, from desperation to dominion, from fantasy to facts. Your facts. Here's what you'll get in the next minutes. A 60-second victory journal that locks in daily wins so your brain can't ignore them. Progress KPIs, simple markers that turn tiny improvements into measurable momentum. The momentum loop: gratitude. Confidence, action, results, repeat. Because the law is simple, what you focus on expands. Focus on the gap, and the gap grows. Focus on your gains, and your capacity explodes. You've already done hard things. Woke up when it hurt, said no when it mattered, kept going when nobody clapped. That wasn't luck. That was character. Character compounds like interest, and today, we make it compound faster. So breathe, shoulders back. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from evidence. Evidence becomes power. Power becomes posture. Posture becomes results. From this point on, you measure against one person only. You, yesterday. Count your wins. Stack your bricks. Guard your focus. This is how confidence is engineered. Wealth mindset is forged, and momentum becomes unstoppable. Ready. Stop chasing the finish line. Honor the climb, and watch how fast the mountain moves. Every morning, millions of people open their eyes, and the first thought that enters their mind is not gratitude, not strength, not possibility. It is deficiency. I'm not there yet. I don't have enough. I'm still behind. That quiet whisper is the seed of exhaustion. It convinces you that no matter what you've built, no matter what you've endured, you are still not measuring up. And when you believe it, you walk through the day carrying an invisible weight, heavier than any real burden. Here's the truth. You are not tired because your journey is too long. You are tired because your perspective is too narrow. You measure yourself against the mountain still ahead and ignore the cliffs you've already climbed. This illusion of not enough is the enemy of progress. And if you don't defeat it, it will defeat you. Think about it. A man stands halfway up the mountain. His body is bruised, his hands raw, his legs trembling. If he looks only to the peak, all he sees is distance. All he feels is lack. But if he dares to pause, turn, and look behind him, he will see valleys he once thought impossible. He will see storms survived, walls scaled, demons conquered. The same mountain that looked endless from the bottom now looks miraculous from the middle. But he must look back to realize it. The mind is a strange battlefield. It has two lenses, one that magnifies absence and one that magnifies achievement. Most people, unconsciously, live through the first lens. They've trained themselves to notice only what is missing: more money, more status, more approval. They scroll through feeds of strangers and compare their behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel, and then they wonder why they feel empty. They wonder why motivation leaks from their soul. It leaks because the focus is wrong. Napoleon Hill said it clearly. Whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on the gap expands. If you focus on your growth, your strength expands. This is not just philosophy, it's biology. Your brain is wired to strengthen the neural pathways you use most often. If every day you repeat, "I'm not there yet," you hardwire dissatisfaction. But if you practice saying, "I have already grown stronger," you hardwire confidence. And confidence produces energy. Energy produces action. And action compounds into momentum. Now let's make it practical. Think of the man rebuilding his health. On day 1, he can barely jog half a mile. He feels embarrassed, weak, behind. If he only measures himself against marathon runners, he will quit. But if he notices, "Yesterday I couldn't jog more than a block. Today I did half a mile," he ignites pride. That pride releases dopamine, which fuels tomorrow's run. Over weeks, the runs stretch longer. The body grows stronger. The mindset becomes unshakable. He still hasn't finished the marathon, but he no longer doubts he will. Why? Because his proof is not in the finish line. His proof is in the progress. Or picture the young entrepreneur. Her first sales call ends in rejection. Her voice trembles. Her hands shake. If she compares herself to industry giants, she feels like a fraud. But if she notices, "Yesterday I was too afraid to dial the number. Today I tried," she records progress. A week later, she makes 3 calls. A month later, she closes her first client. The illusion of not enough would have told her she was failing. But her focus on "how far I've come" transformed failure into fuel. This is why you must destroy the old mental blueprint, the one built on shame and lack, and replace it with a new one. Build a blueprint not on missing pieces, but on accumulated strength, not on chasing perfection, but on honoring progress. The man who measures by lack is always running on empty. The man who measures by progress is always building on proof. Here's a discipline to adopt, starting today every night before you sleep. Write down 3 victories. Not the world's definition of victory, your definition. Did you resist a temptation that used to control you? Did you wake up earlier than before? Did you choose patience when anger was easier? Write them down. This is your victory journal. And over time, this simple ritual becomes your personal evidence file. When doubt comes, you open the file and remember, "I am not who I was. I am further than I thought." Understand this, you will never silence the illusion of not enough by achieving more, because the horizon always moves. The finish line always shifts. The applause always fades. The only way to silence it is to overwhelm it with evidence of progress, evidence of resilience, evidence of growth, and that evidence is already in your hands. So the next time you hear the whisper, "You're still not there yet," answer it with fire. "Maybe not, but I am not who I was yesterday." And that is enough proof to keep climbing. That is how the illusion of not enough dies, when you stop measuring by what is missing and start measuring by what is already built. Imagine holding a magnifying glass under the sun. The same light that warms the whole world, when focused, has the power to ignite fire. That is the law of focus. And it is not only true in science, it is the law that governs your mind, your progress, your wealth, your destiny. Napoleon Hill wrote that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But he also warned whatever the mind consistently focuses on, it multiplies. If you dwell on the gap, the lack, the unfinished road ahead, that distance will stretch in your imagination until it paralyzes you. But if you dwell on the ground already conquered, the strength already built, the proof already earned, your confidence catches fire. Suddenly, you don't act from desperation, but from dominion. Think about your own life. The day you fixate on bills, debts, and obligations, what happens? Stress multiplies, solutions hide, energy drains. But the day you choose to focus on assets, the skills you've built, the opportunities you've already seized, and the networks you've nurtured, you feel rich in resources. From that place of richness, new ideas emerge, doors open, people respond. The external situation may be the same, but your focus changes the outcome. Here is the hard truth. Most people are addicted to lack. They rehearse their problems until their problems become their personality. They meditate on failure until failure becomes familiar. They program their subconscious mind to notice only what's missing, and then they wonder why abundance never arrives. But the wealthy, the disciplined, the uncommon, they do the opposite. They train their mind to focus on progress. They keep mental score of victories, not deficit. And because they focus on growth, growth expands. This is why reflection is not optional. It is essential. To reflect is not to live in the past, but to mine the past for proof. Every scar becomes evidence. Every obstacle survived becomes leverage. The moment you focus on that evidence, you trigger what I call the momentum loop 1. Gratitude for what's already been achieved creates 2. Confidence that more can be achieved, which leads to 3. Action taken with energy and certainty, which produces 4. Results that create more gratitude. Gratitude fuels confidence. Confidence fuels action. Action fuels results. And results fuel gratitude again. That is the cycle of expansion. And it begins not with wishing, but with focus. Take a man trying to build wealth. If he focuses only on the millions he doesn't yet have, he feels powerless, small, defeated. But if he focuses on the $100 he saved this week, the $500 he invested last month, the new skill he mastered this quarter, suddenly his perspective shifts. He's not behind, he's building. Each small act becomes evidence that he is capable. Evidence expands belief. Belief expands capacity, and capacity attracts opportunity. This principle applies to fitness, relationships, even character. A man who focuses on how impatient he still is will quit, but a man who notices, last year I exploded at every little thing. This year, I've already walked away from 3 arguments, will persevere. His patience grows because his focus feeds it. Understand, this focus is not passive. It is an active decision. Every single day, your environment will tempt you to focus on the gap. Social media will magnify your deficits. The world will measure you by outcomes, possessions, applause. But wisdom says measure yourself by progress, not with arrogance, but with accuracy. Here's a practical tool, the focus filter. Before you end your day, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I overcome today that used to defeat me? What did I create or contribute that wasn't there yesterday? What habit did I strengthen? Even slightly. Write the answers. This trains your mind to filter for growth, and because what you focus on expands, you will start noticing more wins tomorrow. This is also how you reprogram your subconscious. Your subconscious doesn't care what you tell it. It simply believes repetition. If you repeat, "I'm not enough," it hardwires scarcity. If you repeat, "I am further than I was," it hardwires abundance. That is how the wealthy think long before wealth shows up in their bank account. They focus on assets, not deficit. They focus on growth, not gaps. Remember, wealth is not just money. It is mindset. Gratitude is wealth. Self-discipline is wealth. Integrity is wealth. And like compound interest, the more you notice it, the more it multiplies. So choose wisely. Every thought is a magnifying glass. Aim it at lack, and you burn holes in your own confidence. Aim it at progress, and you ignite fire that cannot be extinguished. The law is simple. Focus forward without reflection, and you collapse in lack. Focus on how far you've come, and you expand in abundance. That is why, starting today, you must train your eyes, your thoughts, and your language to honor the progress behind you, because the more you see it, the more you build it. And the more you build it, the faster you climb. Momentum is invisible, but you can feel it. It's the unseen force that makes the next step easier than the first. It's why a rolling boulder becomes unstoppable, while a static one seems impossible to move. And here's the secret. Momentum doesn't come from luck, talent, or chance. It comes from a loop you control. I call it the momentum loop. And it has 4 steps: gratitude, confidence, action, results. Let's break it down. The first link is gratitude. Gratitude is not just a polite thank you. Gratitude is recognition. It's when you pause and notice the wins you've already earned. Too many people dismiss their small victories. They say, "That doesn't count. It's too minor." But gratitude transforms small into significant. When you write down, "I resisted junk food today," or "I woke up 10 minutes earlier," you train your brain to see progress. And once your brain sees progress, it believes in more. That leads directly to the second link, confidence. Confidence isn't built in front of a cheering crowd. It's built in the silence of your own recognition. When you see that you've survived storms, that you've followed through on commitments, that you've grown more disciplined, your self-belief deepens. And confidence isn't arrogance, it's certainty. The certainty that you can handle what comes next because you already handled what came before. With confidence comes the third link, action. Notice how different your actions feel when you act from confidence instead of desperation. Desperation chases. Confidence chooses. Desperation begs for opportunity. Confidence creates it. When you focus on how far you've come, your actions are not driven by fear of failure, but by certainty of growth. You're not asking, "Can I do it?" You're declaring, "I've done it before, I'll do it again." And then comes the fourth link, results. Results are the tangible fruits of action. Maybe it's income, maybe it's weight loss, maybe it's a stronger relationship. But results, when recognized, feed back into gratitude. And when gratitude deepens, confidence grows stronger. which fuels bolder action, which creates bigger results. That's the loop. Gratitude. Confidence, action, results. Back to gratitude. The momentum loop explains why some men rise quickly while others stay stuck. The stuck man ignores his wins, so he feels weak. Feeling weak, he acts timidly. Acting timidly, he creates poor results. Poor results confirm his weakness, so the loop spins downward. But the rising man counts his wins daily. Counting wins builds confidence. Confidence fuels courageous action. Courageous action creates meaningful results. Those results give him more to be grateful for. And the loop spins upward. Same world, same circumstances, different focus. Different loop. Let's apply this to wealth. A man who only sees how little money he has will act from lack. He'll chase quick fixes, gamble on risky schemes, overspend out of frustration. His loop spirals downward. But a man who notices, I saved $100 this week. I invested $500 last month. I learned a new high-income skill this quarter. Feels empowered. That gratitude builds confidence. With confidence, he invests more wisely, networks with strength, and cites as opportunities. Results follow. More savings, more skills, more growth. Gratitude compounds into wealth because the loop expands. The same is true in fitness. One man looks at his body and sees only flaws. He feels hopeless. So he skips workouts, eats carelessly, and reinforces failure. Another man says, yesterday I couldn't jog a mile. Today I did it. Gratitude sparks confidence. Confidence gets him back on the track. Action builds endurance. Results show up in his body, and each result multiplies his gratitude. The loop becomes unstoppable, and it works in character too. Think of the man with a temper. If he only focuses on his outbursts, he feels ashamed, weak, hopeless. Shame kills confidence. And without confidence, he doesn't even try to change. But if he says, last week I would have exploded. This week I walked away. He feels grateful. Gratitude fuels confidence. Confidence gives him power to act differently next time. Action brings better results. And the loop keeps building a stronger man. Here's the mistake most people make. They wait for results before they allow themselves to feel grateful. They say, I'll be grateful when I have more money, more recognition, more success, but they've missed the order. Gratitude doesn't come after results. Gratitude comes before results. Gratitude creates results. So here is your challenge each morning. Start your loop. Write one thing you are grateful for, not just external blessings, but internal progress. Say it out loud. Feel it. Let it anchor you. Then carry that gratitude into your day. Let it fuel confidence. Let confidence guide your actions. And let actions deliver results. At night, reflect on the results, however small, and give thanks again. The loop is complete. The loop is alive. The wealthy, the resilient, the powerful. They don't live on motivation. They live on momentum. Motivation fades. Momentum compounds. And the momentum loop is how you create it. So remember, gratitude is the ignition. Confidence is the engine. Action is the drive, and results are the road. Run the loop daily, and you will become unstoppable, not because the world got easier, but because you built the momentum no force can break. Picture a young entrepreneur standing at her desk with nothing but a cheap laptop, a shaky voice, and a dream that feels bigger than her abilities. On day one, she stares at the phone, terrified to make a single cold call. Her mind screams, "You're not ready. You'll fail. You're not enough." And in that moment, she faces a decision every achiever must face to measure herself by the mountain still ahead, or by the single step she is about to take. She dials. Her voice cracks. The call ends in rejection. And yet, something powerful has happened. Yesterday, she didn't even pick up the phone. Today, she did. That single act is not failure. It is progress. It is the first brick in a foundation that will one day hold a skyscraper. This is how real momentum is built, not in giant leaps, but in milestones. Each milestone is a marker that says, "I've advanced. I'm further than I was. I have proof that growth is real." In the weeks that follow, she keeps dialing. At first, the rejections sting. Her heart pounds. Her hands sweat. But repetition makes the unfamiliar familiar. By the 10th call, her words flow smoother. By the 50th, she learns to handle objections. By the 100th, she closes her first deal. That deal might not make her rich, but it makes her unstoppable because it proves the loop works. Gratitude for progress builds confidence. Confidence fuels action. Action produces results. Results create more gratitude. Now, imagine if she had focused only on the gap, on how many clients she didn't have, on how far she was from scaling, on how little revenue was in her account. She would have collapsed under the illusion of not enough. But because she focused on milestones, she built a record of wins. That record became her power. This principle is not limited to business. It applies to every domain: fitness, relationships, personal finance, even spiritual growth. The key is to measure yourself by milestones, not mirages. Here's how you apply it. 1, identify the first cold call in your life. What is the one action you've been avoiding because it feels too small or too scary? Maybe it's going to the gym for the first time. Maybe it's saving your first $100. Maybe it's having a difficult but necessary conversation. Whatever it is, that first step is your milestone. Celebrate it. Document it, because it breaks inertia. And breaking inertia is the hardest part. 2, record every milestone, no matter how minor. The world might laugh at your small wins. Let them. You're not building applause, you're building momentum. Write down the victories that don't make headlines. I said no to distraction today. I finished my morning routine. I read 5 pages of a book instead of scrolling. Each one is a brick, and bricks become buildings. 3, translate milestones into metrics. Entrepreneurs measure progress with KPIs, key performance indicators. You must do the same for your life. Create progress KPIs that track your personal growth. Example, wealth KPI: dollars saved, skills learned, value created, health KPI: workouts completed, meals prepared, energy levels noticed, character KPI: times you chose integrity. moments you showed patience, temptations you resisted. These KPIs are not just numbers, they are evidence, and evidence is fuel. 4. Review and rewire. At the end of each week, review your milestones. Ask yourself, what proof did I collect this week that I am advancing? Write it. Speak it. Meditate on it. This rewires your mind from chasing lack to reinforcing abundance. It turns you from a beggar into a builder, because here's the truth. The marketplace rewards not the man who dreams the biggest, but the man who endures the longest. And endurance is built on remembering progress. The entrepreneur who survives rejection after rejection doesn't survive because she enjoys pain. She survives because she measures differently. Every rejection becomes proof of persistence. Every attempt is a milestone. Every milestone builds the next. You must adopt the same lens. Don't ask, am I there yet? Ask, what milestone did I conquer today? Because milestones compound. 10 steps become 100, 100 become 1,000. Before long, the impossible mountain becomes a conquered climb. Let's be clear, momentum is not magic. It is math. One action multiplied by time becomes evidence. Evidence multiplied by gratitude becomes confidence. Confidence multiplied by action becomes results. And results multiplied by reflection become destiny. The entrepreneur who started with trembling hands eventually became the leader who spoke on stages, built companies, and inspired thousands, not because she was fearless, but because she honored milestones. And that is the lesson for you. Look at your own path. Where were you a year ago, 5 years ago? Who were you before you took that first step? Do not dishonor your milestones by ignoring them. Count them, celebrate them, because they are not small, they are sacred. They are the receipts of your transformation. So ask yourself today, what milestone am I standing on, and what milestone will I create next? When you live this way, you don't just chase goals. You stack proof, and the man with proof can never be stopped. Because proof silences doubt. Proof becomes posture. Posture becomes power. And power becomes progress that never ends. Momentum is built on memory. Not the memory of failure, not the memory of regret, but the memory of progress. The problem is simple. Most people forget their wins. They brush them aside as too small, too ordinary, not enough to matter. And because they forget, they walk into each new day empty-handed, like a soldier stepping into battle with no armor, no weapon, no shield. This is why you need a victory journal. It is not a diary of feelings. It is not a list of complaints. It is a record of evidence, proof that you are advancing, proof that you are becoming, proof that you are further today than you were yesterday. And the beauty of this practice is in its simplicity. You don't need pages of writing. You don't need hours of reflection. All you need is 3 lines each night. Here's the template. What I overcame today. 1 measurable win. 1 character upgrade. That's it. 3 lines. 3 anchors. 3 proofs. Let's walk through it. Line 1, what I overcame today. Every day presents resistance. Maybe it was the temptation to procrastinate. Maybe it was the urge to lash out in anger. Maybe it was the fatigue that told you to skip the workout. Whatever you overcame, however small, write it down. Why? Because resistance defeated once is easier to defeat again. And when you document it, Your mind begins to see yourself not as a victim, but as a victor. Line 2. One measurable win. Progress is built on numbers. However small, maybe you saved $10 instead of spending it. Maybe you made 2 more calls than yesterday. Maybe you walked an extra half mile. Quantify it. Write it. Numbers don't lie. They provide tangible evidence. Your life is compounding forward. When you can measure it, you can multiply it. Line 3. One character upgrade. Wealth without character collapses. Success without integrity crumbles. Each day, identify one way your inner man grew stronger. Did you choose honesty over convenience? Did you practice patience in the middle of stress? Did you honor a promise to yourself? Write it down. These are not just virtues, they are assets. They form the foundation of abundance, the kind that lasts. Now imagine doing this for 30 days. At first, you might hesitate. It's too simple. It won't matter. But by the end of the month, you'll hold 90 entries, 90 pieces of proof that you are advancing, 90 reasons to silence the voice of doubt, 90 receipts that say, I am not who I was. I am becoming more. The Victory Journal works because it reprograms your subconscious. Remember, your mind believes repetition. If you repeat lack, you believe lack. If you repeat progress, you believe progress. By writing these 3 lines every night, you are training your brain to default to abundance. Instead of waking up with the thought, I'm behind, you wake up with the thought, I'm building. And that single shift in focus changes the entire direction of your life. Let's apply this to different areas. Wealth today, you overcame the urge to spend recklessly. Your measurable win was transferring $50 into savings. Your character upgrade was practicing discipline. That's not just money, it's mindset. That's how financial freedom begins. Health today, you overcame laziness. Your measurable win was completing a 20-minute workout. Your character upgrade was persistence. That's not just fitness, it's fortitude. Relationships today, you overcame pride. Your measurable win was apologizing sincerely. Your character upgrade was humility. That's not just connection, it's character. 3 lines. Infinite growth. And here's the secret. The Victory Journal doesn't just record your past. It engineers your future. Because what you write becomes what you notice. If you know you'll be writing about what you overcame, you'll look for opportunities to overcome. If you know you'll be writing a measurable win, you'll push yourself to create one. If you know you'll be recording a character upgrade, you'll pay attention to your choices. The practice itself transforms your behavior. This is how ordinary days become extraordinary. This is how you transform just another Tuesday into a training ground for greatness. So I challenge you tonight, before you go to sleep, take 60 seconds, open a notebook, a notes app, even a scrap of paper. Write 3 lines. Tomorrow, do it again. Do it for 30 days and watch what happens. Because the man who keeps record of his victories never doubts his strength. And the man who never doubts his strength becomes unstoppable. Remember this, the world doesn't reward men who merely dream. It rewards men who collect evidence, men who build momentum, men who stack proof. Your Victory Journal is not just paper, it's your arsenal. It's the record that proves you are not who you were, and you will never go back. 3 lines. Every night. That is how you weaponize progress. That is how you silence doubt. That is how you transform gratitude into momentum, and momentum into destiny. Comparison is one of the most subtle yet destructive forces in your life. It slips in quietly, disguised as inspiration. But beneath the mask, it carries poison. The man who compares his journey to another's timeline can never feel satisfied because he has surrendered control of his self-worth to someone else's highlight reel. Think about this. You scroll through your phone and see a stranger driving the car you want, living in the house you dream about, traveling the world while you sit in your apartment. Suddenly, the gratitude for your own progress vanishes. What once felt like victory now feels like failure. Why? Because you measured it against someone else's scoreboard. And the moment you measure by another man's scoreboard, you lose the game, even if you were winning on your own field. Napoleon Hill often warned about this trap. He reminded us that envy blinds you to your own assets. The law of focus says whatever you fix your eyes on expands. Focus on your deficits compared to others, and the sense of lack expands until it consumes you. Focus on your own progress, and your sense of abundance expands until it empowers you. Here's the truth. You don't know another man's soil. You see the fruit, but not the roots. You see the shine, but not the scars. You see the platform, but not the price he paid to build it. Some cut corners, some sacrificed values, some walk paths you are not meant to walk. If you let their image define your identity, you'll abandon your own destiny. So, how do you detox from comparison? By narrowing your competition down to one person. Yesterday, that is the only man you must measure against. That is the only rival worth facing. Let's make it practical. Step 1, daily reflection. Each night, instead of asking, am I as successful as him? Am I as far along as her ask? Am I further than I was yesterday? Did I grow in patience? Did I create something of value? Did I discipline myself more than before? If the answer is yes, you are winning. Step 2, weekly inventory. At the end of each week is compare yourself to the version of you from last week. What fears did you confront? What habits did you strengthen? What lessons did you learn? Write them down in your victory journal. This anchors your progress in reality, not illusion. Step 3, monthly reset, once a month. Pause and look at the man you were 30 days ago. You'll notice small shifts that feel invisible in the moment, but undeniable over time. Your language change. Your choices sharpen. Your confidence deepens. This is proof, and proof silences doubt. Consider the man rebuilding his character after years of failure. If he compares himself to a leader admired by millions, he will despair. But if he compares himself to the man he was 6 months ago, the man who couldn't hold his tongue, who broke promises, who lived without principle, he will see redemption in motion. That vision keeps him moving forward. Or take the entrepreneur. If she compares herself to billionaires, she'll feel inadequate. But if she compares herself to the trembling voice who made her first call, she will see undeniable progress. That comparison fuels her to keep climbing. Here's another truth. Comparison is not only about envy. Sometimes it disguises itself as pride. You see someone behind you and think, at least I'm better than them. That pride is as poisonous as envy, because it distracts you from your true mission. Both envy and pride are traps, because both take your eyes off the only race that matters, your own. This is why the discipline of you versus yesterday is so powerful. It eliminates false metrics. It destroys illusion. It grounds you in the only measurement that produces lasting growth, personal progress. Let's anchor this with declarations you can repeat. I am not in competition with the world. I am in competition with who I was yesterday. Another man's timeline does not dictate my destiny. My only proof is my own progress. And that proof is enough. When you train your mind to live by these declarations, comparison loses its grip. You no longer crave external validation because your validation is rooted in evidence. You no longer resent another's success because their win doesn't subtract from yours. You no longer rush your path because your timing is your own. Understand this. Comparison steals joy because it steals focus. It directs your eyes away from the bricks you've already laid and fixes them on someone else's tower. But when you shift your focus back to your own climb, joy returns. Gratitude grows. Momentum builds. The man who constantly compares will always feel behind, but the man who counts his own steps will always feel abundant. And abundance, not envy, is the soil where wealth, success, and inner peace grow. So detox your mind today. Delete the toxic scoreboard. Retire from the race you were never meant to run. Narrow your focus to one opponent, your past self. And every time you beat him, every time you outgrow him, every time you surpass the man you were, you are winning. And that, my friend, is victory that no one can take from you. Most people quit not because they're weak, but because they misunderstand the shape of growth. They think success is a smooth escalator, lifting them higher with every step. They imagine progress as a straight line upward, predictable and clean. But life doesn't move like that. Growth is jagged. Progress is messy. Advancement comes in waves. Some days you surge forward. Some days you hold the line. And some days you must retreat, not because you're failing, but because you're wise enough to regroup. Think of a battlefield. A great general doesn't always march forward without pause. Sometimes the troops advance and claim new ground. Sometimes they dig trenches and hold what they've already secured. And sometimes they retreat strategically, not to surrender, but to recover strength and prepare for a stronger attack. The same law applies to you. Your life is not a straight sprint to the summit. It is a series of advances, defenses, and recalibrations. Advance. There are seasons where everything clicks. Your energy is high, your vision is clear, and your actions produce obvious results. In these seasons, momentum feels effortless. You wake up earlier. You push harder. You achieve more than you expected. These are the moments to lean in, to maximize effort, to expand aggressively. But don't fool yourself into thinking these seasons will last forever. They are gifts, and you must harvest them while they last. Hold. Then there are seasons where you don't advance, but you don't lose ground either. Progress feels slow. The wins seem small. You're maintaining habits, repeating disciplines, showing up even when there's no applause. This is not stagnation. It's stabilization. Just as muscles grow not only in the lift, but in the maintenance, your character grows when you hold steady. Most men despise these seasons because they mistake holding the line for being stuck. But the wise man knows holding is winning. Every day you maintain discipline when it would be easier to quit. You are silently compounding strength. Regroup. And then there are seasons when life knocks you back, a business collapses, a relationship breaks, your health falters, or your confidence is shaken. In these times, retreat feels like defeat. But retreat is not failure when it is intentional. To regroup is to restock your energy, to analyze your strategy, to patch your wounds. The man who refuses to regroup will collapse. The man who chooses to regroup will rise again stronger, sharper, and more resilient. Napoleon Hill emphasized this truth. In his teaching, temporary defeat is not permanent failure. Too many quit at temporary defeat because they expect linear progress. They hit resistance. I assume it means they are unworthy and abandon the climb. But those who understand the rhythm advance, hold, regroup, see defeat differently. They know it is part of the process. They know the valley is not the end, but preparation for the next peak. Let's apply this practically in wealth building. Some months, your income grows, investment compound, and opportunities multiply. That's advance. Other months, you're simply maintaining savings and paying bills responsibly. That's holding, and sometimes a setback hits, you lose a deal. Your portfolio drops. That's regroup. What matters is not the shape of the curve, but your refusal to quit. In fitness, some weeks you hit personal records. That's advance. Other weeks, you just maintain your workouts. No new milestones. That's holding, and sometimes injury forces you to rest. That's regroup. But recovery doesn't erase your progress, it prepares your body for future strength. In character, some days you feel unshakable in integrity. That's advance. Other days, you simply resist temptation without new breakthroughs. That's holding, and sometimes you fall short. That's regroup. If you learn from it, if you rise again, your setback becomes the soil of your growth. The mistake is expecting constant acceleration. If you demand endless forward motion, you will misinterpret normal plateaus and temporary setbacks as failure. And the moment you call progress failure, you sabotage yourself. So how do you stay steady in the rhythm? By redefining success. Success is not just moving forward. Success is refusing to quit. Success is showing up on hold days, rising again on regroup days, and maximizing the advance days. Here's a declaration you can repeat. If I'm advancing, I'm growing. If I'm holding, I'm strengthening. If I'm regrouping, I'm preparing. In every season, I am still progressing. This perspective turns every season into a win. It robs defeat of its power. It transforms waiting into training. Remember this, the man who is still standing is always further than the man who never started. Progress is not measured only in leaps forward. It is measured in the refusal to stop moving. Even when you hold, even when you regroup. So today, honor the rhythm. Don't despise the plateaus. Don't curse the setbacks. Don't idolize only the leaps. Progress is a battlefield. Some days you advance. Some days you hold. Some days you regroup. But in all cases, if you're still in the fight, you're still winning. Words are not just sounds. They are signals to your subconscious. Every phrase you repeat becomes a blueprint your mind follows. And the tragedy is this: most men sabotage their own progress with careless language. They speak lack, so they live lack. They rehearse failure, so they expect failure. They tell themselves, I'm not there yet. I still need more. I hope one day I'll be enough. And every time those words are spoken, they program the mind to see deficiency instead of development. Napoleon Hill reminded us that autosuggestion, the words you feed yourself, shapes the very foundation of your belief system. What you continually tell your mind begins to accept as fact. So if your daily declarations are rooted in lack, you will walk through life in lack, no matter how much you've already achieved. But if your words are rooted in evidence, in progress, in gratitude, then you rewire your brain to live from abundance. Here's the shift. Instead of saying, I'm not there yet, start saying, I've already built more than I once thought possible. Instead of, he still needs so much, declare, I already carry strength, knowledge, and resilience others said I'd never have. Instead of, I hope one day I'll be enough. Affirm, I am becoming more every single day, and the proof is in my progress. This is not about lying to yourself. It's about telling the truth you've been ignoring, because the evidence of growth is already there. The habits you've created, the temptations you've resisted, for the lessons you've learned, they are proof. But until you put that proof into words, your subconscious won't believe it. Let's anchor this with 5 Dominion declarations you can begin using right now. 1, I am not behind, I am building. 2, I don't chase, I choose. 3, I don't hope for progress, I embody progress. 4, I am further today than I was yesterday. And that is proof of momentum. 5, I don't speak from lack, I speak from legacy. Repeat these daily. Speak them out loud. Write them in your victory journal. Because language is not just communication, it is creation. Let's look at this in practice. Wealth, a man says, I'm broke. I'll never catch up. His mind agrees. His actions reflect despair. But if he says, I've already learned to save, I've already built discipline, I'm further than I was a year ago, his mind shifts to abundance. And from abundance, he makes better financial decisions, attracts opportunities, and compounds progress, health. A woman says, I still look out of shape. I'm so far from my goal. Her energy collapses. But if she says, I'm stronger than I was, I'm more consistent than I used to be, I've already proven I can change, her energy rises. That language fuels her discipline. Discipline builds the body she desires. Character. A man rebuilding his integrity says, I keep failing. I'll never be the man I should be. That sentence kills motivation. But if he declares, I've already chosen honesty more often, I've already rebuilt trust in small ways, I've already proven I can be different, then his words rewire his mind for redemption instead of resignation. You see, the words not yet chain you to the future. They trap you in an endless chase. The words already built anchor you in the present. They remind you of the foundation under your feet, and from that foundation, you can climb higher without fear of collapse. Here's a practice to lock this in, the language audit. For the next 7 days, write down the phrases you use when talking about your progress. Circle every phrase that signals lack, not enough, still behind, hope one day. Then replace them with abundance phrases already growing, further than before, becoming more. Say them daily until your subconscious accepts them as reality. This is not wishful thinking. This is strategic rewiring. It is how you break the cycle of lack and install the mindset of abundance. It is how you stop speaking as a beggar and start speaking as a builder, because the man who speaks lack will always feel lacking, no matter his accomplishments. But the man who speaks progress will always feel abundant, no matter how far he still has to go. And abundance is the soil in which true wealth, confidence, and momentum grow. So choose your words wisely. Replace "I'm not there yet" with "I've already come far." Replace "I need" with "I've built." Replace "I hope" with "I am." When your language changes, your posture changes. When your posture changes, your actions change. And when your actions change, your destiny changes. Remember, this confidence is not found in the future, it is spoken in the present. Speak as the man you are becoming. It's not the man you used to be. And your words will create the world. Your actions will one day confirm a man can be disciplined, focused, and determined and still lose his progress if his environment is toxic. Growth is not just about what you do, it's about what you allow. You cannot plant a seed in poisoned soil and expect it to flourish. In the same way, you cannot plant your ambitions in an environment filled with negativity, distractions, and doubters, and expect your success to thrive. Napoleon Hill often emphasized the power of the Mastermind Alliance, surrounding yourself with people who believe, encourage, and sharpen you. The opposite is also true if you surround yourself with critics, complainers, and cynics. Their voices will infiltrate your focus. Their doubt will seep into your subconscious. Their limits will become your limits. That is why protecting your environment is not optional, it is essential. Here's the principle: energy is currency. Time is treasure. Focus is gold. If you spend them carelessly, you will end up bankrupt in spirit long before you're bankrupt in money. Let's break this down into the TEF filters time. Energy. Focus. 1. Guard your time. Time is the one resource you never get back. Every yes to a distraction is a no to your destiny. If you allow endless scrolling, empty conversations, or meaningless obligations to consume your hours, don't be surprised when your life feels hollow. The wealthy, the disciplined, the uncommon, they treat time like money. They budget it, they invest it, and they refuse to waste it. Ask yourself daily, is this activity moving me closer to who I want to become? If the answer is no, cut it out. 2. Protect your energy. Energy is fuel. When you give it away to people who drain, demean, or distract, you are left empty for the battles that matter. Some relationships are like leeches. They take without giving. They criticize without building. They anchor you to who you used to be instead of who you are becoming. You are under no obligation to keep such voices close. Protect your energy fiercely. Seek out conversations that inspire, environments that uplift, and people who push you higher. 3. Control your focus. Focus determines your future. Your mind is a battlefield, and every distraction is an invading army. News cycles designed to outrage you, social feeds engineered to addict you, gossip meant to entangle you. They all steal your focus, and once your focus is gone, momentum collapses. The man who wins is not always the most talented, but he is the most focused. He says no more often than he says yes. He refuses to rent mental space to critics. He keeps his vision clear and his eyes fixed on progress. Understand this. Setting boundaries is not weakness, it is wisdom. The man who says yes to everything dilutes his strength. The man who learns to say no becomes unstoppable. Let's put this into practice with 3 rules. The energy audit. Each week, write down who and what left you drained. Then write down who and what left you energized. Adjust accordingly. The focus hour. Dedicate 1 sacred hour each day where your phone is off. Distractions are silenced, and your work is undisturbed. Protect it like your life depends on it, because your future does. The relationship rule. Surround yourself with at least 3 people who see your potential and call you to rise. If your circle doesn't challenge you, it's not a circle, it's a cage. Think about this in real life. An entrepreneur spends his days surrounded by doubters who mock his small beginnings. Eventually, he starts to believe them. His progress stalls, not because he lacks ability, but because his environment poisoned his faith. Another entrepreneur surrounds herself with builders, mentors, and believers. Their encouragement fuels her confidence. Their feedback sharpens her strategy. Their presence lifts her energy. Some talent, different environment, completely different outcome. The same applies to health. Try to build discipline while living in a kitchen stocked with junk food and friends who laugh at your efforts. It's nearly impossible. But put yourself in an environment where healthy choices are the norm and discipline becomes natural. The same applies to character. Try to walk with integrity while surrounded by liars and cheats, and their habits will rub off on you. But surround yourself with men of honor, and you will rise to meet their standard. This is why environment matters. You may think you are strong enough to resist, but over time, your environment always wins. The question is, are you shaping it, or is it shaping you? Declare this today: I will not rent space in my mind to critics. I will not spend my energy on what drains me. I will not waste my time on what doesn't build me. Because you only get one life, one mind, one focus. Protect it, guard it, invest it wisely. Progress requires boundaries. Without them, your focus leaks, your energy fades, your time vanishes. With them, you create an environment where growth becomes inevitable. Remember, the soil determines the harvest. Plant your dreams in poisoned ground, and they wither. Plant them in protected soil, rich with discipline, gratitude, and encouragement, and they flourish. So look around you. Who drains you? What distracts you? Where are you wasting the treasures of time, energy, and focus? Cut them off, build boundaries, and watch your momentum multiply. Reflection is not the finish line. It's the ignition. You don't take inventory of your victories just to feel good. You take inventory so you can lead from them. Progress that stops with you dies with you, but progress that flows through you multiplies. This is the essence of legacy mode, not only becoming better for yourself, but becoming a living example that pulls others higher. Think of it this way: every scar you carry, every step you've climbed, Every storm you've endured, it isn't just proof for your own confidence. It's a torch for someone still walking in the dark. The man who reflects, refines, and rises without sharing is strong. But the man who reflects, refines, and rises while pulling others with him, he is unshakable. He is legacy. Napoleon Hill taught that the greatest leaders are not those who hoard wisdom, but those who transfer it. They don't just say, "Look how far I've come." They say, "If I've come this far, so can you." That one sentence can spark revolutions in hearts that had almost given up. Here's the truth. People don't follow perfection, they follow proof. They don't connect with the man who pretends he never struggled. They connect with the man who says, "I know what it feels like to be broken, and I know what it takes to rise again." That kind of honesty is magnetic. That kind of transparency is power. So how do you step into legacy mode? 3 steps model. Multiply. Mentor. 1. Model. Before you ever speak a word, your life speaks. Every habit you build, every decision you make, every way you carry yourself, it's teaching someone else what's possible. When you live with discipline, your children notice. When you pursue your vision relentlessly, your peers notice. When you refuse to quit in silence, someone unseen is inspired. Never underestimate the impact of simply modeling resilience. 2. Multiply. The victories you've accumulated are not for private storage, they're for multiplication. Share your story. Write it. Speak it. Live it out loud. Not to boast, but to broadcast possibility. When you multiply your lessons, others adopt them, apply them, and spread them further. Your progress becomes exponential because it doesn't stop with you. 3. Mentor. There comes a point where living by example isn't enough. You must intentionally pour into others. Take the time to guide someone younger, less experienced, or simply discouraged. Offer them the wisdom your scars taught you. Remind them that the road is not easy, but it is worth it. Mentorship is how legacies are built across generations. Now let's ground this in real life. The entrepreneur who remembers his shaky first pitch and now mentors young business owners, his legacy isn't just his company. It's the confidence he passes on. The father who once lost his temper but rebuilt his integrity, teaching his children the power of patience and apology. His legacy isn't just in words, but in the safe space he created for the next generation. The student of discipline who once gave in to laziness but now trains daily, pulling a friend to join him. His legacy isn't just muscle, but mindset. Legacy is not about fame, it's about influence. You don't need a stage to lead, you just need a life worth following. Here's a declaration to anchor legacy mode. My progress is my proof. My proof is my power. My power becomes a path for others. When you think like this, reflection becomes responsibility. You no longer view your growth as private. It's part of a larger story. A story that reminds the world that progress is possible, and strength is real, and resilience can be built. And this is the paradox of legacy mode. The more you share your growth, the more you grow, the more you lead others. The more leadership sharpens you, the more you give, the more abundant you become. Legacy is not loss, it is multiplication. So today, stop hiding your climb. Stop downplaying your victories. Stop pretending your scars don't matter. They matter more than you think. They are not just your resume. They are someone else's roadmap. Focus only on how far you've come. And then take it further. Use that focus to light the way for others. That is how confidence becomes contagious, how resilience becomes generational, how progress becomes unstoppable. You are no longer just building a life. You are building a legacy, and legacies never Pause for a moment. Look at the ground beneath your feet. That is not empty soil. It is proof. Proof that you've walked farther than you once believed possible. Proof that you've endured storms, fought battles, and climbed walls that should have stopped you. And yet, here you are, standing, breathing, rising. You are not the same man you were last year. You are not even the same man you were last week. You are becoming stronger, sharper, wiser. And the moment you see that truth clearly, the finish line stops taunting you, because you realize you've already built momentum. You've already built a legacy, and momentum is unstoppable. Don't let the world trick you into thinking you're behind. Don't let comparison steal your gratitude. Don't let doubt rewrite your story. You've come too far to quit now. You've invested too much to shrink back. You've proven too much to play small. So from this day forward, walk differently, speak differently, decide differently. Let every step you take echo with the authority of a man who knows his worth is not in what's missing, but in what's already been built. This is not the end of your climb. It's only the next level. And the next level belongs to those who honor their progress, protect their focus, and multiply their legacy. That's you. That's your path. That's your proof. Now it's time to act. If these words lit a fire in you, don't let it die. Carry it forward. Share this message with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more daily reminders of the power already inside you. And most importantly, take one step today that honors how far you've come. Because your best days are not behind you. And they are not in some distant future. Your best days are built right now. Brick by brick. Choice by choice. Victory by victory. Stand taller. Speak louder. Expect more, not from entitlement, but from evidence. You are the evidence. You are the legacy. And your climb is only just beginning.